Hey guys, it's Jen from pinkwind.com again, and I am going to share with you a few basics on learning how to arm knit. So there are a few things that can be a little bit tricky, and I know I've had some comments on one of my additional posts about just a few things that were confusing. So I thought I'd put together a little video to show you the basics to help you get along with any of the patterns that you find through any tutorials on the internet. So hopefully this helps, and hopefully you'll be able to get started, see what you're supposed to do in the middle, and I'm going to show you how to tie everything off at the end as well. So shouldn't be too long of a video, and hopefully this helps out. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick video showing you just basically the basics on how to arm knit. So you're going to take your two strands and we're going to create some length here. Okay, we're going to create a slip knot. So we're going to take our strands, we're going to make a twist, put your hand through and pull what's going to be your working yarn through and just slip that on your wrist. Okay, so let me do that again. I'm going to take my strand, twist it, pull what's going to be my working yarn through, and just kind of slip that on my wrist and cinch that up. Okay, this is my tail and this is my working yarn. This is what's attached to the skeins. And now I'm going to make my first stitches. So I'm going to create this little slingshot. I'm going to go under, over, and through, and that creates your first stitch. So again, take your fingers and just work them through, this being your tail, this being your working yarn, and you create a little slingshot. You're going to go under, over, and then through that loop that you create. Okay, under, over, and through. All right, so I'm going to do a few more of these, and then I'm going to show you how we can get this on our other arm. All right, so as you can see, the strand, it moves down here. Okay, so let's do one more. Under, over, and through. All right, so once you have that, you don't need your working yarn anymore. And I'm not making a project here, I'm just kind of showing you a few things that I think have stumped a few people, or if you're new to this, this will actually help you if you're watching other videos. So you're going to grab your working yarn now and pull your first stitch over and put your arm through, and this creates your move on to your other arm. So we'll do that again. And remember, you're going to have your working yarn. You're going to pull your loop over, put your hand through, and then grab your working yarn again to tighten that up. Okay? And this is how you'll make your scarf or your blanket or whatever other project that you may be working on. This is basically what you are going to be doing with it. So hopefully this will help you out. All right, so you can see it looks like a little bit of a mess. What I always do is I take my fingers and I try to even up my stitches a little bit. That way they're all kind of uniform when I'm done. So again, let's move it over to this hand. We're going to take our working yarn, pull that loop over from our wrist, and put this through. Okay? And then you just kind of keep going and doing this. And depending on, if you're working on a scarf, for instance, you'll probably would have wanted to cast on more links onto your arm, depending on how thick of a scarf that you wanted to make. Okay. All right, so this piece right here, this is our tail that we're not working with. And then here's our loops here that we've created. All right, so our tail, and then just kind of keep it over here on to the side. And then here are our links. And like I said, I always try to even them up a little bit. All right, so I'm going to move everything back over here. And I'm going to show you how you cast off now. All right, so let's say that you've done all the links that you need to do. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to hold your working yarn in your hand You're going to take this first link that we did, pull it over. I'm going to grab the working yarn with this hand, and then I'm going to drop that loop. So I'm not creating another loop. All right. So I'm going to put the working yarn back in this hand, and this is casting off. This is how you end whatever project that you're going to do. So I'm just going to create another link, okay? And then I'm going to take the last loop here, and I'm going to pull it over, dropping my working yarn, and then just grabbing it so before you let go of that loop, that way you don't lose it. And you don't want to over tighten it or anything. Just create your stitch back onto your arm, and then just kind of move it over. Don't pull it through though. There we go. And here we go. Oop, almost didn't let go of that. All right. And just tighten it up every time that you're bringing one over. And then start to bring this over, and then I'll grab it with this hand and then let it go. Okay? And then here's our last loop. I'm going to grab it with this hand and then pull this over. And then you have this loop here. What I usually like to do is create a little knot here. And this is how I tie off my scarves. And then I'll trim this and cut it. Okay? And then you can kind of see that, you know, this is basically uniform, and you can adjust it however you need to. These are the basics on how you get started arm knitting. So hopefully that helps you out, and you can see these loops are pretty much the same. And then your tail here, you would weave in when you're finished. You can, you know, cut that off and tie that in as well. But that's basically how you get started arm knitting. So I hope that was a help for you guys. Thanks.